2002 Mazda Protege LX. I keep losing fluid here and it's dropping off underneath the car, so I know there's a definite leak. This is the magic sauce. You don't have to buy anything near as big as this. They make small ones, but this is the cheapest, and if you are going to keep having cars that are not electric and need coolant, then you need one of these. So after you pour a little bit of that in your radiator, you're going to let that run a couple days. And as it leaks, you're going to use a UV pen or UV light, and we'll turn off the light and we'll check and see where it might be. And you can see just offers a purple light. Now it's going to hit certain things that are fluorescent and make it super bright, and that's exactly what we want. So you can typically hunt around all the typical areas where you might look for radiator fluid. Don't really see anything. You might see a few splashes, but notice here you're starting to see a little bit here. That is typically from it evaporating or misting, but we're going to continue to look around and look down there. There it is. It's leaking right at the heater hose. So 235,000 miles, not too bad. You're gonna notice on the left side here, this big plastic thing. So it actually has a 90-degree plastic connector, and the other one has another plastic quick connector. So it's possible that these are broken too. So you always want to check to make sure if the leak is coming from the left side where the connector is, you know, see that little cut in on the plastic black part there, or if it's right down there, because you might have to purchase one of these too. There's two of them. See, there's one down here. This one looks perfectly fine, but hey, I'll probably leave these plastic ones on. It's just another couple bucks. So if you want to do it, go for it. But I'm just gonna replace both hoses because I'm down there. But that's how you look for them, and it's super easy. So that dye detection kit, even if you get the tiny bottle, you don't have to use the whole thing. Save half of it for later. It'll save you so much time. Okay, we're getting underneath the car. All right, yeah, so this right here, if we're looking this way, that's the driver's side wheel. So if I'm underneath the passenger side wheel and looking up. Here's the heater hose. You can see it's all leaking. I don't know what that like white schmoo is on the top there, if that's just like, if it's actually the hose is like leaking and drying, but you can see at the top right up there, the clamp, that's where it's dripping down and coming down. So the problem is that these hose clamps are sort of like hard to reach. So this one right here, right in the middle, the clamp is at the top, and there's a whole bunch of stuff like intake manifold at the top. So I think what I'm gonna do is just, there might be some more coolant in there, so I'll get a bucket underneath it, but I think I'm just gonna cut the hose to give me enough space to just reach up from here and then clamp them. The one on the 90, fortunately, sorry again, guys. Yeah, the one at the 90 right now, that's right in the middle. Let me see if I can zoom in. Okay, yeah, that one, that's the leaky one that's connected to the, there you go, the 90-degree. That hose clamp is facing out the firewall. So I think as long as I cut the other one, I can reach that one. And if I get some, I think my arms are long enough to reach up at the top there. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna cut the hoses. All right, guys, so one thing I learned today, the reason why the OEM Mazda Protege hoses are so much more expensive than normal is because one end has the hose clamp, and that's the one that goes on the side of the engine. The other end goes into the firewall way back there. Also has a hose clamp, but the OEM ones come with a quick connect. Now, You can buy the OEM ones, but essentially what this is a 5/16 inch hose barb, or 5/8 hose barb on one end, and that goes right in there. And then this side is a 5/8 inch quick disconnect. And honestly, for 200,000 miles or whenever you're changing them, you should just replace them, because I tried to be cheap and reuse these, but the heat just made them brittle. Both of them broke off. This one was leaking, but both of them broke off. Even after I removed the hose clamps and was trying to pull this rubber thing off, they just like straight up snapped. So you might as well just get some new ones. OEM, or these are basically things that you can buy anywhere because they're used by Ford and GM, like all the major manufacturers use these now. So you're gonna need one straight, and for this one, it was the Dorman 800/403. That's for the straight. And then for the 90, it's 800/416. Now, 416 is the plastic one. They didn't have it at my automotive shop, so they had the 416 HP, which is this billet aluminum one. And this is now going to be the nicest thing on this entire car. But it was like $1 or $2 more, so whatever. I just want to get this done. So in advance, I'm going to connect these in, and then I'm going to use this quick connect. The only thing is these are sort of a pain in the butt to install, so I'm going to put a little bit of radiator fluid or a little grease in there just to get it like so it's easy to slide on. That's going to make it much easier. When you're pulling off the old ones, these are sort of a pain, and you're going to be really frustrated if you've never encountered these before. So essentially what you do is you see there's like this locking tab here. So what usually happens is on both sides you need to push these in, and you can see how it's starting to pop out, and then you'll be able to pop this out, right? Or there might be a little bit of, it might be frozen from dried liquid, so give it a little twist and then you can slowly pull off. It's sort of hard. If you can push it in by these tabs, that's fine. Some of these connectors will be big enough where you can actually push from the back. See how I just did that and it pulled it right out? So if you can use a screwdriver on both sides, the only thing is you have to do two at the same time. And being in the back there, it's just a real pain. I got lazy, and I'm not proud of it, but I just took some snippers and I just straight up, you can notice I just cut those edges off so I could just pull that off. So this one, I think I got lucky. I figured out what I was doing, and I was using like some picks or something to push these in and pull it out. But this one, I'm like, dude, it's already broken, forget it. So I just cut it off, and that's what I did. You can see on this one, it's the nicer one, right? The really nice one. It's got these thick tabs here. So if you want to press down here, you can, but if you have the space, you can just use your fingers and squeeze from the back, and you'll be able to pull. Not that you're going to ever need this. Again, if your car is 200,000 miles, if you can get this to 400,000 miles, man, my hat's off to you. But that's how this works. Dorman 800/416, or the HP is the metal version, 800/403 for the straight. All right, so one last thing. Wanted to show you guys, if you weren't familiar, you're going to notice that these have a barb on it. So when you push it in, it's obviously going to stop right there. Where you want to put the hose clamp is as close to the back of the barb as possible. Not right on it, but just enough so once the hose starts tightening back down, that the barb or the hose clamp tightens up right after that. If you put it too far back, like this, then what could potentially happen is fluid can leak past the barb and it'll start collecting and potentially sort of ballooning right here. And that, you know, you're relying on the hose clamp itself to sort of tighten everything down. So if you put it pretty close to the back edge, that's optimal, because then you're using a seal from the barb itself and then the tightness of the clamp to sort of get double tightness, one right after the other. All right, so this feels about right. You can feel the ridge of the barb right there and then the clamp there, so you know you've got the optimal. For me, it was removing the 3 10mm bolts for this cruise control. Just gave me a little extra space back there. Otherwise, the rest of it was the air intake, which I basically pulled off just enough to give me the space. And then the engine lift eyelet here had some metal brackets. We're good to go. Okay, so we've removed the intake hose, and there's the first one right down there. So we need to get to that one just behind it. It's hard to see. There's another humped hose, and that's the other one is connecting just underneath this area right here. So took these two harnesses off, removing this grounding bolt here. Okay, so you can see I pulled off the top one, and the one right behind it, that's what I'm trying to get to now. The problem and what makes life miserable is this fuel injector harness. It is absolutely cooked, for one thing, so it's hard to pull up, and it's sort of pre-formed now to get over in your way and make your life miserable, but we'll just keep carrying on until we can get that one. All right, so I got the two older hoses out. They were pretty tight on there. I think heat just got them really stuck. You can see how hard and brittle they were. What I had to do was I cheated a little bit. I took just a razor blade and I just sort of lightly cut to sort of soften that up. I did not cut all the way through so that I accidentally passed through the rubber. These hose barbs are a little, I wouldn't say they're corroded, but the stuff that was radiator fluid has dried up. They should optimally look like this, and the reason is because once the rubber hose seals, it should have a nice smooth surface, because if there's any impurities on it, that could cause extra leaks. Now, it's going to be impossible to just like sit there forever, and you don't want to use a sandpaper that's too aggressive or anything, because you might actually introduce more scuffs that could lead to leaking. So I just got a little bit of this like Brillo pad, just enough to like remove a good portion of it. So you can see there on the one down below I did, and it's a little bit shiny, but you know, a gentle clean to sort of knock off a lot of the schmoo, and that's probably good enough. All right, much better. So I think we're ready to do it. Oh my God, I got it. Okay, let's just pull that down. Well, it did a thing. There were a few people who saw my transmission video and they started laughing because same thing happened. I wish I recorded this one. I was like, you know what? It's already leaking. So it's not that tight to begin with. So I just started pulling, and what do you know? The whole thing just came off and just splashed all over. So I had to sort of break the seal of the dried stuff. So I twisted it in a clockwise fashion. And for me, it just came off, dude. So yeah, this hose was ready to go. So I pulled that one off. I'm gonna remove it from the top, and then we'll get to the other one that's the actual problem with the clamp on the side.